Hello, everyone. Welcome to BizTalks Unplugged, Candid Conversation on Business, where we open the floor to unrestricted and unscripted dialogues for curious business minds. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a privilege to welcome today you all on this platform. Our guest today is none other than Mr. Rakesh Kohli. He is the chairman and the owner of Stag Internationals, one of the most respected sports equipment brands to emerge from India. Coming from a family engaged in sport manufacturing since 1922, Mr. Kohli joined the family business and took it to new heights. Under his leadership, Stag International expanded far beyond its origins to become a globally recognized brand whose products are now used across more than 200 countries worldwide. Beyond businesses, Mr. Kohli himself has an extraordinary sporting journey, representing India in international tennis competitions and contributing actively to sports administration and development in whole. Today, we will explore the fascinating journey of building a global sports brand from a legacy manufacturing business and what entrepreneurs can learn about building sports industry ventures in the modern world and in India in particular. Welcome, sir. It's an absolute honor to have you with us today. The floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Rijan. Thank you, Ayana, for having me here with you. I always say that knowledge gained in this world is not my personal property. So I'm ready to share it with as many people as possible, as many times.
Thank you, sir. As we move forward, sir, segments we proceed. It is largely believed by us at the INR that the person who's right in front of us is is the final product of the numerous levels of experiences, outcomes, maybe journey that he or she has. So, as we move forward, sir, what would you say that, like, how did the Stag emerge from a family business that began decades ago, and what is the origin of the legacy business that you've had, sir? Could you take us back to the early days and share how the journey has been for Stag?
Yeah. So Stag was established in 1922 by my late grandfather, Mr. Arjan Das Kohli, in Sialkot, which is the hub of sports goods manufacturing. So after partition, they moved to Delhi and then to Meerut. And my father, he joined the business. And we were working with schools and colleges at that point of time. And we used to work in Karnataka, in Maharashtra, and in Assam, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, and places like that. And in 1975, when my grandfather, he was very active, he had a fall and he was not able to tour anymore. And I was a 17-year-old young man, and he wanted me to go to those places where he was going all these years. So I was inducted into the business just after my class 11, and I started touring Karnataka and Maharashtra and parts of Goa. So that is how my journey began. And then I did my business. Along with that, I kept studying, and I was fortunate to get into MMS at FMS. And I did my MBA while working. At that point of time, all the BHU sporting goods, they were being bought from Stag International because I used to be there. So just after my MBA, I was a keen sportsman all through. And there was nothing else which I wanted to do more than playing tennis or table tennis or any other sports which I used to do. And we had a inter university tennis going on at Roorkee, where I was supposed to be the captain of the Meerut University team. But just a few days before, I was down with the with chicken pox. So that is where my real journey began. It was like an opportunity in adversity, because I was confined to bed and I couldn't play the inter-university, and I was a little bit annoyed that why this has happened. But then I realized that there must be an opportunity in this. And that was the time when I concepted the brand Stag and how I would like to take it forward in India and abroad. So the first thing I did was that I formulated a complete strategy for the next 10 years. And I think that was quite helpful, because immediately after a few days when I was well, I went to the Table Tennis Federation of India. I told them that we are the manufacturers of table tennis equipment. And that was how I got my table tennis tables approved by the Table Tennis Federation of India. And there was no looking back. I mean, this was in 1980, 82, 82 and 1983 beginning. And at that point of time, nobody knew the brand Stag. So what we did thereafter was that we tried to have each and every tournament in North India being played on Stag. And slowly and steadily, the brand started catching up. And in 1985, we had the first nationals and we became the number one brand in India. And since then, we have been there. So this has been the journey right from 1922 to 1985. But there were more interesting things to follow, which I think during the course of our conversation we'll discuss.
Needs a very long and illustrious journey, to be honest. And you finding that strength amidst the, like, you have prepared for a competition for so long and then you suddenly face something like that. It really takes a heart to actually accept the outcome and at the same time look for the positive, options that can come from that event itself. So, sir, would you say that you are a person who looks the positive outcomes even in the bad situations all the time, or it is just a way for you to process what is happening around you?
See, the thing is that I always think that not everything which you want will happen the way you want it. So there'll be certain things which will not happen as you want. So those are the times, and we all know, I mean, people say numerous times that sometimes you have your plans and sometimes he has his plans. So if this bout of chickenpox would not have been there, I would have still been very active in sports. I would have still been playing my table tennis and tennis, and perhaps Stag brand would not have been conceptualized at all. But this was not the only time when it happened. There were multiple occasions thereafter, like when we first got our table tennis table approved by the ITTF. The World Championships were being held in India in 1987. And I requested the Table Tennis Federation of India to get our table approved by ITTF because the World Championship was in India and there was a good opportunity for us to do that. 3 days before the World Championship, the Secretary General told me, no, this year we are going to get the balls approved and we'll see in the next World Championship. Now, this was a major shock for me because I had been preparing for that. I had prepared my tables and everything. But this was an opportunity for me because he told me that he's not going to promote my tables for the approval. So I directly approached the Mr. Ruford Harrison. He was the chairman of the equipment committee. I directly approached him and he said, okay, we'll see your tables in the hall. You bring your table and all. And then they checked the table. And that's a big story. And our table became the first table from India, which got approved by the International Table Tennis Federation. So I say that whenever there is an issue, there'll be various opportunities which will come. Like when we are in business, there'll be certain complications, there'll be certain products which are not as per the expectations of the buyer. And if there is a problem, if there is a complaint, the first thing which we try to do is we try to analyze why this complaint is. And then based on that complaint, we try to find ways and means how to sort it out and how to sort it out not only for that customer, but for all our customers. So whenever there is a problem, we say that, okay, welcome, let us solve this problem. And I'll like to tell you a very nice example of this. My grandfather, he was working with schools and colleges in Karnataka for almost 50 years or maybe 40 years. So one day he went to one school and the headmaster of the school, he said, Mr. Kohli, we are very sorry, but we must tell you that the products which you have supplied to us, they are not up to the mark. So he said, sir, let us, what happened? He said that the footballs and the volleyballs which you supplied, they didn't last long. So my grandfather replied, thank you. And the headmaster was very upset. He said, see, I am complaining about your products and you are saying thank you. What do you mean? He says, sir, I've been dealing with you for the last 20 years. And we have been supplying the goods, you have been making the payment, and that is it. We never had the opportunity to prove ourselves. So he said, how do you mean it? So he opened the order book. The first thing he read, he said, how many footballs you bought? He said, 12. How many volleyballs you bought? He said, 12. Okay, 12 footballs and 12 volleyballs, free of charge. So now when the customer, he saw this, he said, yeah, these guys are actually very dependable guys. And the business which he was doing with us, it multiplied many folds because he had that confidence. So there was a problem, there was an issue, but it was turned into an advantageous situation. So that is what we always do at Stack.
Indeed, very noble, sir. And you mentioned that you at that time with Stag, you built the India's first table tennis, that were competitions that were being held in India. How have you seen that the journey or the evolution of sport manufacturing has been in India throughout all this time? And would you say that the opportunities are way better than they were back then, or the bureaucratic process has still been not very supportive?
So I would say, I think probably as we discuss, I think this is one of the best times for Indian sporting goods manufacturing. And why I say there are good reasons for that. For the first time this year, the sporting goods manufacturing has come under the sports ministry. All these years, the sporting goods manufacturing was under DPIIT, with the result that because DPIIT had so many other things to do, there was no focus on sporting goods industry. This is the first time when the government has come forward that the sporting goods manufacturing is under the sports ministry, and the sports ministry is directly involved in how to take the sports manufacturing forward. So we have been, in the last 6 months, we have been having extensive meetings. From 0.5% of the global share which we have in exports today, the sports ministry wants the sporting goods manufacturing share from India to go up to 10%. Now, what does that mean? It means 20 times of what we are doing today. So I think this is perhaps the best time to be in sporting goods manufacturing in India.
So, although it's the best time and there are a lot of opportunities, and yes, you have highlighted that the bureaucratic process have been, sort of eased by our current government. But building a global brand takes in context the international markets, the product credibility, the brand building, and so many other points that are mandatory for any manufacturer to come into play. But today, if you're saying, if someone is starting out, how does a sports equipment manufacturer from India becomes a globally respected brand? Since you have already had that journey and you know that the ins and outs of it, how does that process really start, sir?
So I would first like to share a few things from my journey, and then maybe bring something up which I think is the right way to do it. See, I was a passionate sportsman. So the first thing I did was that, being a table tennis player, I thought that the best equipment which I can do, probably I have an advantage over all the other manufacturers. So the first thing which I did in India was that to see to it that every major national championship was played on my table. With the result that the brand every day was getting more and more popular. And this was the same strategy which we applied in the international sector. Now in India, we had almost 20 states who were sponsored by us. When we went into the international market, we started sponsoring international countries. We started manufacturing with countries who needed us, rather than the countries who were doing so well and they didn't need a sponsor like us. But there's so many countries in Africa, in Latin America, in Asia. There are so many countries who actually needed sponsors. So we searched for these countries and we started sponsoring these countries. Today, Stag is sponsoring 60 international countries worldwide. Now, what I'm saying here is that I was into the business of my passion. I was into the business of what I knew more than any of my competitors. So I think probably for anyone to start a business, whether it is sporting goods or anything else, he needs to understand that whether he is passionate about this business or not, he is passionate about this sporting industry or not, whether he is a sportsman. If he has all those traits, then coming into the sporting goods business becomes much easier for him. So the first thing he has to realize is, where does his passion lie? And if he feels that his passion lies in sporting goods, not only because the sporting goods manufacturing is now under the sports ministry, there are so many opportunities. I should not come into the sporting goods manufacturing. I should come into the sporting goods manufacturing only when I see that this is something which is interesting for me. So that is the first thing. Uh, Having said that, now getting into the international market or getting into the Indian market, I think the parameters are the same. Except a few, of course, there will be climatic changes, there will be economic differences, things like that. But overall, to strategize for the international market or to strategize for the Indian market, I don't think so. There will be going to be much difference if you're passionate about what you're doing.
That does seems to be a very complex process in many ways. And this business of sports manufacturing is indeed very vital, and yet at the same time very expansive in its nature. As numerous norms have been introduced over the years, and as you have said, the climatic changes that have been there in place, there have been several innovations in the sports equipments. We have seen for example, the F1 races, where a new security or a preventive guard which has been placed on the drivers' captain seats to prevent them from going into accident sort of things. Then comes the quality standards and the global competitions, which have been largely increased because largely we have been where we were in past a pretended global society to an actual global society, as every action which is happening around the world gets impacted not just on the national level but to the individuals' lives as well. As I take the liberty of saying this because recently we have seen one of the famous football players, Mr. Lionel Messi, visiting India, and the craze that the Indian people had towards him shows that we live in a global world. So, uh, coming from a globally recognized brand and taking to that level, what are the steps that you as a leader actually take to build the world class products, and what are the complexities to get them recognized and approved across the world landscape?
Yeah. So the first thing which you mentioned was regarding innovation. So I think innovation is the key to a lot of successful ventures. Now, what we did at Stag, when we started manufacturing table and tables, in India, we used to have tables with wooden legs. And internationally, the tables were all with wheels. So what we did to gain the market immediately was that we became the first Indian table with wheels. We started the journey and continued with making so many firsts in India. We were the first mats made out of expanded polyethylene. We were the first company to produce landing mats for pole vault and high jump. We were the first company in the world to make rollable pickleball courts. We are the first company in the world to make a table which is operated by remote. So innovation goes a long way. I mean, at Stag, innovation is a continuous process. Every day there's something new which is coming up. We are the first outdoor tables out of India, and we sold almost 40,000 tables in 1 year after the pandemic to US alone. Outdoor tables with our brand Stag. We are the first outdoor pool tables in India, in the world. Not in the world, in India. We are the first outdoor foosball tables. So we have so many firsts, so many innovations as far as the brand is concerned. All through something new is going on. Now coming to the second part, whereby the safety standards, whereby the various tests which need to be performed. So if you see now, in the last 2, 3, 4 years, the BAS has also become very important. And when we are doing international business, we have all the audits from various companies, whether it is Costco, whether it is Walmart, all the major companies, Decathlon, they all want their own audits. So these audits, they actually prepare us to produce the kind of product which they want, to produce the kind of quality which they want. Then we have the CN certifications. All our products must be certified by CN, must be certified by CN, which means that we are actually following the international norms for safety. So these things are extremely important now if you want to go into the international market. Even in the domestic market, if you want to sell your products, you have to have your products passed by BAS. It is still evolving, but I think those standards are also not far. I mean, I used to do yoga, and one fine morning I picked up a mat which which we used to sell really well. And when I started doing yoga, I noticed a certain smell in the mat. I said, no, nothing doing. If I cannot use this mat for my yoga, none of my customers are going to use it. We stopped doing those mats overnight. So we have to have the safety standards. We do the all the tests for our international market. We provide the same equipment to India. Like we do a lot of mats, sports mats, and these sports mats, they have to be FIR, fire resistant. They have to FR grade. We want they want to be phthalate free, lead free. So if you buy the product with these specifications, it is almost 30 to 40% expensive. What we did, we said, okay, even if it is expensive for the Indian market, also we are going to use the same product which we are exporting. So safety standards, of course, they are important, and without those standards, you cannot survive.
Indeed, sir. Protection is in the rounds of sports, which seems to be highly competitive, requires standard rules and procedures as well. And that's why, sir, we come to the global sports ecosystems, where we, as you mentioned about, these international tournaments of happening in India, and you specifically, sir, wearing the Indian flag, which is a great pride in many ways, I would say, that distinguishes a person and years of journey and achievements in total. So, would you say that the global sports manufacturing, today is deeply intertwined with the international federations, the tournament licensing, and the athlete endorsements that we have seen across the board? From a strategic perspective, how should a sports brand balance, commercial partnerships and the regulatory bodies and the complexities therein, along with an athlete's credibility without losing the product's authenticity in many ways? Like, for example, you have to customize to every of the players that are out there, and yet at the same time maintain your own USP. So how does that whole thing so works?
So the first thing, which is, I mean, of course, all these things what you have mentioned, they are quite very important. But the first thing which is extremely important is the product. The first, if once the product is of an international standard, which can be used by all these athletes, then comes how to market it. I mean, it's a good product, but it will not sell on its own unless until it is marketed properly. And that is where the approvals from the federations, that is where endorsements from the athletes, which becomes very important. Today, if you see a lot of Indian brands in cricket, all the major players, they're using Indian brands. And that is how all these brands have become so popular worldwide. Whether it is an SG or an SS or a BDM or all these brands, they have become so very popular. So I normally say that build brand India through Indian brands. That is one of my philosophy, which I am discussing always with the government. The government, I mean, the once you have the product, once you have the athlete endorsement, once you have all these things in place, once you have the international specification, then how do you take it forward from there? You have to see that your product must be used in the Olympics. You have to see that product must be used in various international competitions, as you rightly said, and that is where the role of the government also comes in. And that is where all these things have become so important now, because the government is directly focusing on how to help Indian manufacturers to go abroad and have these products used in the international competitions. So athlete endorsement, or whether it is certification from the from the bodies, national bodies, international bodies, all these are important. The first thing is product, and then all these endorsements.
Indeed, sir. And coming to the Indian sports good industry, which, as you have seen, and you have stated that it has been historically been fragmented, with clusters like in Meerut and Jalandhar producing for the global markets and all. So, coming from Stag, what strategic decisions that have allowed you and the organization to emerge as a recognized global leader rather than remaining just a manufacturing supplier like many others in the ecosystems in total? So, what are some of the, like the industry structure or the strategic differentiation or whatever things that you have made as a decision to make that into reality, sir?
So the major decision which we have always been taking at Stag is that it's not about what we are getting out of running this business. It is about how we are contributing to the sports at large. So that is how, when we started the journey with Stag, getting it approved by the Table Tennis Federation of India, getting it approved by the International Table Tennis Federation, the first thing which we did was how we can provide this equipment either subsidized or free of charge to the state associations, to the district associations. When we went internationally, to the countries who cannot afford it. So our strategy always has been around how to promote the brand in a way whereby we also help the countries or the states or the districts who need us. This has been the major strategy. The second strategy has been always innovation. What we can do next? Today, we have an indoor table, which is perhaps one of the best. Whether it is enough? No. What is the next step? There is a big market for outdoor sports, outdoor table tennis. We explore that. We go to US. We find that the outdoor tables are selling much more than the international market. We go to Costco. We get the table approved by Costco. Sell 40,000 tables to Costco because we have innovated. Now, there are various products, various inputs going into those innovations. Like if it is an outdoor table, we normally use for an indoor table, we'll use a 3 inches wheel or a 4 inches wheel or a 2 inches wheel. But when it is outdoor, it has to go on grass, it has to go on mud, it has to. So we made a wheel which was 7 inches big. And Costco was immediately sold out when they saw this 7 inches wheel because till that time, nobody had a 7 inches wheel on a table tennis table. Now there are so many other brands who are doing that. But we were the first ones to do that. And that was, I think, one of the primary reason we got that order over the all the other suppliers. So this innovation is a continuity. I mean, I have produced that 7 inches wheel is not the end to it. What is the next? Now today we have tables which are multi-purpose. You can use it as an office table. You can use it as a table tennis table, or you can also use it as I mean, if you reverse it, you can use it as a pool table. So the multiplicity of the products, I mean, you have to add on every day, you have to add on something or the other. If you go through my catalog, you will find at least 20 different products which you would not have seen anywhere else. So then, of course, this is table tennis. What is next? We saw that pickleball is one of the fastest growing sports in the world. We said, okay, this is something similar to what we do already. We do the table tennis flooring. So why can't we do the pickleball flooring? And we went and we became the first rollable pickleball flooring in the world. And it was used in the US Nationals. It was used in US Open. It was used in English Open. It was used in the World Championship at Peru. So all the countries, they started using because this was an innovative product. Nobody had it. So what they want to do is they want to go to a place, have the championship, and then after that, that place is no longer used for the same sport. It is used for some other sport. So they want something which can be taken in and taken out. And that is where we came in. We had the pickleball slam where Andre Agassi and all the top players, the Michael Chang and all, they played. But they needed a flooring which could be taken there, rolled in one day, rolled out in a few hours, and that's it.
Indeed, sir. And that does sounds to be in very, complicated sort of process in therein. But sir, as we move forward, we always have seen that the entrepreneurship in the sports industry today, as you have mentioned, has been very detailed and very, ambidextrous in many ways. And if a young entrepreneur, today wanted to, build a sports industry business, what is like the blueprint that he or she must follow to make that into reality? Because largely people might say that okay, you have to sort out the products, you have to differentiate to find where your product stands by, you have to understand the market demands, cater reach. But so from someone who actually built a business and took it to the next level, what is your view into it, and what is the blueprint that you have to go through? Like what how will that person sort of build in the funds? How will they bring in the players? How do they actually attract the customers and the sponsors, etc.? So
So basically, I think whether it is sporting goods or anything else, it has to start with an unfulfilled need. If we talk about sporting goods business, in India, there's so many sports where at this moment, the manufacturing doesn't take place at all. Whether it is the tennis racket or whether to a large extent some kind of sports shoes, I mean the high-end sports shoes which Essex or Nike or some of the other brands are doing. So many areas are untapped. Like we started making paddle courts. Now paddle is a sport which has been very popular in Spain. It has been very popular in Scandinavia. But in India, it is still starting. But then there is a scope to produce paddle courts. And we saw it. We saw, okay, this is something which aligns with our specialty, with our manufacturing strengths. And we started making paddle courts. So the first thing which one needs to understand is, where does the need lie? Based on that need, how can I align my expertise with that need? Yeah, okay, skiing may be a very popular sport, and there may be a lot of demand internationally. But whether I am competent enough to do a ski, if not, stay away. But if I am competent enough to align my strengths with the kind of needs which exist, I think that is what needs to be done. Having said that, once you have identified that this is something which can be done, and this is something where I can have the strength to do it, then I think the other things fall in place. Today there are a lot of people who are ready to help uh, first generation entrepreneurs. I mean, there are a lot of people who would like to have startups, who would like to see an idea which will really work, and there are people who would like to support it. Maybe out of 20, only one will be successful, but they are ready to take that risk. So I don't think those days are gone when you don't find the right people to invest into your ideas. But those ideas have to be really workable.
Yes. So, one thing that has come to my mind and has been largely been paced by most of the audiences, that India has like several sports equipment manufacturers today. And since you have had a lot of firsts in bringing new products and innovation, what innovation or what strategy that right now you're using, which has still differentiated you as in the Stag from the other Indian brands which are happening, and how do you maintain that strategic market position even today?
See, strategy, I mean, there's no specific strategy as such, but there are so many ideas which are floating around. I mean, if you see one of our catalogs, we say that you bring your ideas to us and we will turn them into successful products. Now somebody came with an idea, sir. I mean, the choke ball sport is very popular in Switzerland. It's very popular in Canada. Why can't you do that in India? I said, okay, we will do it, and we did it quite successfully. Somebody came, okay, I mean, there is a sport known as Ballanpire in Canada. They said, can you do it? I said, yes, it falls within our. I mean, if it is metal, if it is foam, if it is wood, that is something which we can do. So the ideas are important. If the right ideas are there, then we work on that. I mean, we make 100 new products in a year, and maybe only two are successful. But these two will give us enough business over the years, that even if there are some products which are past their life cycles, these two new products will take us forward. So you have to continuously see where the new products are coming. Like, maybe, I don't know whether you heard of it or not. There's a new sport now coming in, skyball.
Indeed, sir.
After pickleball, after paddle, now there's a new sport which is coming, which is known as skyball. I think we are the first ones in India to do skyball. So you have to see what is coming in next, and you have to be ahead of the competition.
Truly, sir, that does mark the distinction in the business, sir. And so, if you were to move towards a reflectionary position, uh, how would if you were to, advise the Indian government today, what's the single most structural reform would most accelerate the growth of India's sporting industry and the penetration of the India's demographics? Like sport is does not really remain for the privileged or the higher ends, but all the way down to the every last mile of the country itself.
Yeah. So 10 years or 15 years back, sport was never a priority. I mean, you couldn't have a career in sports as such. Today, I think this is one of the most lucrative careers. So there are a lot of things which the government can do, and we have been discussing with them over the last 6 months. Expecting too much from the government is also not the right thing. But I mean, having said that, since we have been discussing and we have been coming out with various, I think one of the best things which the government can do. I don't know whether they, with the WTO and all, they can do or not. But I think, see, somebody wants to enter into a new business, and we say it is sporting goods. Now, what is the reason that why he will come to Meerut or Jalandhar or for that matter, the new centers which are coming up in Odisha or Chennai or any other place. What are the benefits which is going to derive by coming to India rather than going to Vietnam or to China or to Thailand or other places? So the government has to very clearly think that what is it that they are doing to attract this investment. They did it many years back for the IT industry, and the IT industry was really very successful. So I think one of the things is that what kind of tax concessions, what kind of subsidies the government can offer to international investors to come into this sector in India. That is number one. The second thing again I had just mentioned is that there are a handful of Indian brands who are doing quite well in the national market, and they are doing quite well in the international market as well, but their hands are tied. They don't have enough funds with them so that they can capture the entire international market. What the Chinese government does is that if there is a product which is used in the international market, if it is being used in the world championship, then whatever expense is being made, whatever royalty they have to pay for the world championship is paid by the government. So I think that is what we expect from our government also, that when these brands are good enough to be used in international sector, then the government should see to it that whatever royalties to be paid, that can be shared with the manufacturer so that he can venture into that. So again, what I said was that build brand India through Indian brands. There is I mean, you go to any international departmental store running a sports section, you will see something or the other in that section which has come from a factory in Meerut or Jalandhar. This is the kind of penetration which we have. Now, if this product is with the Indian brand, it will make all the more difference. Like when we had this Costco tables, 40,000 tables with Stag brand in it, I got at least 100 people coming back to me who have originally been from India. They say, we have seen our brand in a Costco store. So it's such a proud moment for every Indian to see an Indian product in these stores. So I think that is where the government should handhold the good brands, the brands who are already doing, or the manufacturers who want to excel with their brand internationally, to handhold them and do whatever they can for these brands. One is to get the investment. For that, I've already told you what they can do. And one is one the investment is once the investment is done, what they can do for the Indian brands.
Sure, sir. That does sounds to be very lucrative and insightful. And the government, and if the system in general would were to combine that, we could have a more positive aspect in the coming future. So we have curated a list of questions from various of our audiences. We have broadcasted our session via the YouTube, and we have chosen six particular questions from six different guests. Our first question would come from Mr. Tanmay Datta. He's a student at the University of Mumbai. So he says that many family business struggle to modernize their operations and governance. What were the most difficult decisions you had to make when transforming a legacy family enterprise into a global competitive organization?
See, although I am a third generation entrepreneur and my children, they are the fourth generation entrepreneurs, but see, I was into sports always. So for me, I did not face those challenges. But as a fresh MBA, I came out with a brand, and then everything revolved around that brand. I mean, for me, these challenges were never there, and my family, they supported me well. Of course, having said that, let me narrate one of the situations which I had. Just after my MBA in 1983, we had the national championships in at Indore, and there I presented my table for the approval from the Table Tennis Federation of India, and the approval cost was 5,000 rupees. And I had a stand there where I was selling some goods, so the money was coming in. So I immediately paid that 5,000 rupees and got the table approved. So when I came back, my grandfather was still very active, but he was not moving around. But even on bed, he was very active in business because he had done all this business for so many years. He called me. He said, "How many tables do you produce?" I said, "About 8 to 10 tables a month." He said, "That's about 100 tables." I said, "Yes." And what is the cost of the tables? At that time, the table was 1,100 rupees, 1,200 rupees. He said, "Okay." So this is the revenue which you have earned, and you have spent 5% of this revenue on just getting an approval by the Dividends Federation of India. So how would you make up for this expense which you have made? I was young. I was uh, 25 at that time. I said, I'm not going to reply to your answer. Now, this is the family businesses and things where he said, what do you mean? You're not going to reply to me? I said, I'll reply to your question after 2 months. So he said, okay. He had no other alternative but to wait. So the next day, I went to the Dividends Federation of India. I got a letter from them that these are the two tables approved by Dividends Federation of India. One table is priced at 1,500. The other one is priced at 1,800. And this letter I took, and I took multiple copies of that and sent it to all the state associations and to all the dealers in India. And I told the dealers that this is the price which the Dividends Federation of India has approved, and we'll be giving you at this particular price. Believe me, after 10 days, because that time there were no emails, there were no fax, there was nothing. The entire mail was the morning mail which you get. After 10 days, we started getting orders for tables on the mail. And my grandfather used to open the mail himself. One day it was one table, another day two tables, another day two tables, one table. By the end of 2 months, we had almost 150 tables ordered. So he didn't repeat that question because he knew that what this guy means. If he knows his business. 4 years later, we got the approval by the International Dividends Federation. And at that point of time, with the dollars and all, whatever the price was, it was coming to about 1,83,000. Nobody in the family asked me how this money is going to come from. So in family businesses, because I mean the older generation, they have their own say. But when they see the younger generations are competent enough, these kind of complications will not come. The complications come when they feel that the younger generation is not competent enough, and how to hand over this business to the younger generation if the competence is not there.
Indeed, sir. So next question is from Mr. Priyak Medda. He's a student at TIS. He says that when Stag first entered the international markets, what was the biggest barrier? Was it the credibility, the distribution, or the product standards? And how did you overcome that barrier with your strategy and your mindset in particular?
Yeah, a very good question, and I think I have a very nice answer for that because I have lived through this phase. Because see, in 1985, we became the #1 brand in India, and we started our international journey in right earnest in 1993. We went to the ISPO fair, which is one of the biggest sporting goods fair. It was held at Munich in Germany. And we thought that we are the #1 brand in India and we are doing so well in India. So automatically our products will sell well when we go to the international market. And when we went to the international market, we saw we priced our product at $150. And when we went there, we saw German made tables and Spanish made tables at $100. Nobody wanted to buy a table at $150. So we were quite surprised that, I mean, in India, because normally people expect that Indian products would be a little bit cheaper than the European products. And here we are about 50% more expensive. We came back empty-handed. 1994, we did reverse engineering, this, that, okay, this is what we can change. And the dollar also helped, the dollar went up and we started the table at $100. And the table price in Germany and Spain was $90. Again, came back almost empty-handed. 1995, we went again. And this is the learning which I had during my FMS days, which I applied in 1995 at the ISPO fair. During my training, during my MBA course or MMS course, I did my training with Chorus India Limited. Chorus India Limited was a company which was manufacturing carbon paper. Many of you would not even really know what a carbon paper is. But at our time, without a carbon paper, there was no survival for any business. Now, Chorus India Limited was the #1 brand for carbon paper in the world. Not in the world, in India. And they had 98% share of the carbon paper. But they were selling the carbon paper at a loss. Now, this was quite surprising for me because what they used to do was a typically a stationery store had to buy 10,000 rupees worth of goods, and then they can buy a box of carbon paper, which used to cost about 800 rupees. And in that 800 rupees, chorus used to lose about 100 rupees. But in that remaining 9,200, they used to make a profit of 4,600. So ultimately, in a 10,000 business, they were making almost 45%, 44% business. So I was sitting at Expo Fair, and a guy from Israel, a Palestinian but staying in Israel, he came to me. He said, "What's the price of the table?" This is 1995. I said, "Your price." And he was looking at me. He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Whatever you say." He says, "That guy is selling a table at $80. Will you give it to me at $75? I said, "Yes, I'll do." He said, "Okay, write an order for 6 containers." I said, "Sorry." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I'll give you half a container of tables, but along with that, you'll have to buy half a container of accessories." Now, total container used to be $20,000. Because table was a volume business, the number of tables which would fit in a container would be about 100. And he could buy only 50 tables, which would cost only about 3,750. But that remaining $16,000, he had to buy accessories, which were giving me almost 50% profit. And the business immediately it picked up because I had applied my learning from from my college days into the international market, which I did that. So, everybody has his own journey, but I had this, and this is how I overcame the price barrier. Now, table tennis table is a product which remains stationary. If you put it in a hall, everybody will see the branding. Now, if there's so many tables being sold, the brand starts getting popular with the brand. Nobody will see the branding on a table tennis ball. Nobody will see the branding on a table tennis rubber, but they will all see the branding on a table tennis table. So we started selling tables at a loss, but the brand visibility started improving every day.
It's and very well said in many ways. So our next question comes from Mr. Ajay Raj. He's a student at IM Trichy. He says that sports equipment today increasingly integrates technology and material sciences. How important is R&D for sports brand today, and where do you see the next wave of innovation emerging?
R&D is extremely important. Like if you say, a table tennis bat, for instance. Initially, it was being made out of plywood, and then you stick a rubber to that. In former times, there was a rubber which, even without the rubber, people used to play. Now, there is Kevlar, there is carbon, there is titanium. Each and every product is being used in a table tennis racket. Similarly, if you see, cricket bat is still more wood than anything else, but there's so many other. See, hockey sticks. Hockey sticks traditionally they were all wooden. Now they're Kevlar. If you see tennis racket, I remember when I used to play, we used to play with a tennis racket made in Allahabad by Simon's company, which was one of the first Indian company which started selling goods overseas with their own brand. And everybody used to use that Simon wooden racket. Now you see the graphite, the carbon, the titanium. So there is so much innovation happening every day, and everybody is trying to build a product which is better than what has been produced yesterday. If you see a table tennis table, from coming from a table with wheels, now we are making tables with made out of compact laminate for outdoors. So every day, something or the other keeps adding, and that is where R&D becomes very important. If we have in our factory, we have a separate R&D section. Each and every good factory in India for sporting goods or for any good factory for any product has to have an R&D section in house.
Thank you, sir. So, Mr. Gaurav Sinha, he's a student at the University of Chandigarh. He says that China dominates the global sports manufacturing today. What strategic steps should India take if it wants to emerge as a serious global competitor in this industry? He also says that he wishes to target on the policy and the industry level insight from this through this question, sir.
Yeah. So I think this is what we are discussing for the last almost 6 months now with the government. It is important. See, if we see the traditional Indian manufacturers, now if we say that these manufacturers are going to lead the industry over the next 10 years, I think it's going to be difficult. Maybe we can go 5x, 6x, 10x. But if we say that if the government has ambition that the sporting goods industry has to grow 20x, we need to have investment from overseas. That is where the government is working. We need to understand where we are strong today, how we can improve it further. We need to understand where we are not doing anything. And there is a lot of scope. Say pickleball, there's a lot of scope. We are doing minuscule. We are not doing even 0.001% of the total market, which so similar. So we have to understand where the opportunities exist, and that is where we are working with the sports ministry. That is which we are where we are working with the bureaucracy, that how to take the Indian sports goods manufacturing to the next level and compete with China. The first step is to get to the 10%, which is a very, very big ask. Now with the Commonwealth Games coming up and India bidding for the Olympics, I think the entire machinery, the entire ministry is focused on this. Every day there are at least 20 meetings with one entrepreneur or the other, and they're all discussing what is your view. What is 2 hours back, before I discussed with you, we had a meeting with the sports ministry. This 500 crores has been allotted by the government in this budget. The total allocation in the next 5 years has to be 15,000 crores. Now, how do you want to allocate this 500 crores in different activities? What, as a sporting goods manufacturer, is your aspiration from the government that where this 500 crores is to be used, and how the next 15,000 crores or 14,500 crores is to be used? So there is a very, very positive thought process going on within the government, which is, I think, likely to take our industry much farther than at any other time.
It's so now we have the last second question, sir. It comes from Mr. Tanay Pandit. He's one of our own students at the FMS BHU. He says that for young entrepreneurs who build ventures in the sports ecosystem, whether equipment, sports tech, or athlete management, what opportunities do you believe are still largely untapped in India, and how any student who's pursuing his MBA would be able to grasp or enter into that market?
So at this moment, I think the opportunities are available in all three sectors, whether it is tech, whether it is manufacturing, or whether it is events or leagues and things like that. I mean, there is a huge opportunity in each and every segment which we are talking about. Why? Because sports is just beginning to grow in India. In the last 5, 7, 8 years, there's been a lot of difference. We've already seen the leagues which are doing, and I mean, a team being sold for 15,000 crores. I mean, it's mind-boggling. So, and this is only cricket. There's so many other sports which are now coming in, and every sport, whether it is badminton, whether it is pickleball, whether it is tennis, every sport has a huge opportunity coming up. So, to answer the question, what should be done, where should be done, it all depends on where your passion lies. If you are a computer expert, maybe the tech. If you are somebody who is keen on playing the equipment, playing sporting, or who is a good player, maybe sporting goods manufacturing may be good. Somebody who wants to, I mean, if he is from like a background where he's looking at investments, maybe the leagues, maybe these things. So it all depends on where you're passionate about. And there are, for sportsmen, a lot of opportunities. For people who want to invest, a lot of opportunities. For people who are tech savvy, a lot of opportunities.
Indeed, sir. Thank you, sir. As we come to the end of our conversations with you, sir, it has been an absolute incredible journey. One piece of advice, sir, we always ask our guests that if you were to, look back over decades and give a one piece of advice to a young Rakesh who's sitting out there and dreaming to enter into this business, what would you say to him, sir?
Two things for the youngsters. One is, life is like a cricket match, a test cricket match, which runs over 5 days. You have 2 innings. You have the first innings and you have the second innings. If you're really doing well in the first innings, you're really working hard in the first innings, the second innings becomes that much easier. That is the number one. So, but if you don't do well in the first innings, if you're just spending your time doing nothing or not working hard enough, then the second innings becomes difficult. The second thing, and it relates to the same, somebody asked a successful entrepreneur, what's the reason behind your success? He said, in life, I was always the first one to jump on an opportunity. And the next question came that, how did you know that this was an opportunity? He said, no, I kept jumping. When the opportunity came, I was the first one. So the thing is, what I mean here is that in the first innings, you have to work hard. You have to keep working hard and the results will automatically come. Normally people say that opportunity knocks at the door but once. I say opportunity knocks at the door every day. You have to understand when the opportunity is knocking.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for spending your time with us. It was an absolute pleasure to have you with us on BizTalks Unplugged. The words that you have stated, the plans that you've told, and the ins and outs, the cruxes, and the descriptions that you have given of the sports industry and as an entrepreneur in general will go long. And if anyone is looking out to build a sport, industry or a business today, they can look no further and view this video. Thank you so much, sir, for spending time with us. Have a good day.
Thank you, Srijan. Thank you, Ankush. Thank you so much. God bless. Thank you. All the best.
Hello there. Welcome viewers to